Hi everyone, I'm Flannery Winchester, the Communications Coordinator for Citizens Climate Lobby. I'm here with your March Media Tip of the Month. Today we're talking about submitting op-eds and LTEs related to Earth Day. Earth Day is April 22nd, and it's a great opportunity to send your paper an op-ed or a letter to the editor related to climate change. Today I'll share with you a quick sample outline that you can use to write your piece. So, you might be tempted to start off your piece with an introduction or an opening line that talks about Earth Day. Instead, I'd encourage you to start things off catchy and bold, perhaps by talking about a local impact of climate change. So if you're in Georgia like me, you could start by saying something like, last year, Georgia's famous peach crop was devastated by hundreds of warm winter days and a late freeze. If you're in California, you could start with, here in California, X number of acres of land burned in a record-setting wildfire season last year. You might even drill down to more recent impacts in your specific county or city. This will catch the editor's attention and make them more likely to print your piece, since it relates so closely to the area and the paper's readers will be able to relate. Next, you can tie in Earth Day, perhaps with a little bit of history. The first Earth Day was in 1970, and according to their website, it activated 20 million Americans and is widely credited with launching the modern environmental movement. The passage of the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act soon followed. From there, you can pivot to climate change, perhaps with a line like, the most threatening pollution problem we have now is the one of carbon pollution, which is driving these local impacts and destabilizing our entire climate. From there, introduce CCL's solution, carbon fee and dividend, which would put a price on carbon emissions and return the revenue to Americans each month. Depending on how much length you have to work with, you could dive deeper into both of these topics, or just address them in a sentence or two. If you're writing a longer op-ed, you could also mention and praise the Bipartisan House Climate Solutions Caucus, which is currently working to find bipartisan solutions to climate change in Congress. Finally, wrap up your op-ed or LTE with a call to action. You might issue a challenge to your member of Congress to support and pass carbon fee and dividend legislation, or perhaps to join his or her colleagues on the Climate Solutions Caucus. You may also want to mention Earth Day again. If your chapter is hosting any Earth Day events or appearing at any Earth Day festivals locally, you might briefly mention that. And then you might close out with something optimistic, like, just as the first Earth Day paved the way for major environmental legislation, perhaps this Earth Day will usher in carbon pricing legislation in Congress. When it's time to submit your op-ed or LTE, simply go online to your newspaper's Contact Us page and follow the directions for submission. Typically, you'll be sending op-eds to the editorial page editor, and LTEs may have a submission form or a special email address. And if this is your first time trying to write an op-ed, feel free to email me at flannery@citizensclimatelobby.org. That's FLANNERY @citizensclimatelobby.org. And I'm happy to read your piece and give you feedback. You can also reach out to Steve Volk, our communications director, at steve@citizensclimatelobby.org. Good luck and happy writing.